This is the spyware itself. It's called R Backup Pro, which sounds pretty innocent. Most end users wouldn't find the log to begin with, but if they would have a look at it, they probably wouldn't suspect that titled program. So let's have a look. We're now trying to make a demo of calling this and using this phone from another device. So what I have here is another phone, and I'm simply going to, should I make a phone call first?
Yeah, try the phone call first.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
so
move it a bit.
I'm calling the victim number. It's calling a phone number in Finland, and it should ring if the operators just roam correctly. That's always a bit problematic when you are in North America. So let's see. We were actually trying with different operators earlier today, including T-Mobile and AT&T, and tried to lock the operator to make sure it would actually get the call through.
Yeah, try SMS.
Let me retry calling. It's dialing. Okay.
Okay, so we got the call. I'm answering the call.
Hello, Jarno.
Hello.
How are you?
Did you hear about Malware?
Oh yeah, Halvar, yeah. Did you hear about jailhalvar.com?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
All right. Talk to you. Bye-bye. Let's try something else. Let's try...
See now?
Right. Okay. Show very...
So here we have the icon for data traffic. And normally, if you're not browsing the web or anything else, you're not seeing much of any data traffic happening. But now, as we have the spying tool installed on the phone, pretty soon after the phone call has been ended, it should contact the server of the spying tool and upload the data there.
And this is something which is an operating system feature of showing that there's an open data connection, a GPRS connection from the phone. And they haven't been able to spoof that. So if the user is really careful, he would see after every phone call that there's a brief connection or data connection from the phone.
Yeah. I'll send an SMS message to the phone.
I can do it.
Okay.
So, or actually, you go ahead and do it. I'll check this. So now we're going to send an SMS from the phone to the phone which is being spied on. And while Jarno is doing that, I'm going to go online and double check what's going through.
Okay, so here's an SMS message being sent from just an innocent phone, the victim phone, containing all kinds of interesting information. It might be that this information might be interesting for your wife or perhaps for a reporter if you happen to be an important person. And then let's wait once again.
The funny thing is that, yeah, let's see if it goes through.
Yeah, and just love the US carriers.
Yeah, it works. No, the US carriers work fine. We have many in audience. Okay, so we got the message through.
We can see the data traffic.
Yeah.
So immediately after the SMS message arrived, it's opening a data connection to somewhere and transferring data from the phone. Something that shouldn't normally happen.
So now the person who is doing the spying can log in to the website of the vendor that behind this tool, and he has a full log of everything that's been going on. So here is the details of the voice call. There was a voice call made today at that time, and it lasted 18 seconds. So we discussed 18 seconds about Halvar Flake being stopped at the border. The SMS message that was being sent is right here, and as you can see, it contains the name of the sending phone, the number of the sending phone, and the details. And it also regularly records where the user is. So today, at this time of the day, we were at cell ID 731 at AT&T network in country code 310, which is USA, and that area code. And if you have a cell tower map, you can use this to figure out where in the world this person is. And as he travels around, it will constantly send this out. So that's spy tool in action. If you paid attention, you noticed that the phone that was actually being spied on was Nokia E70, which is the Symbian Series 60 3rd edition phone. And we just talked about Symbian Series 60 3rd edition and how they only run signed code. Well, the nasty truth is that that particular spying tool is Symbian signed. This is exactly the nightmare scenario. It has been approved and signed with the certificate. And that's how it gets to run. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to operate and get all that information. How come this has happened? Well, apparently, we don't know for a fact, but apparently through social engineering. This spying tool has been manufactured and then submitted for the Symbian signed process with the name R-Backup Pro. And it has been specified that this is a remote backup program. It will remotely make a backup copy of your information on the phone. And that's, of course, exactly what it does. So, apparently it has been tested and found to operate as documented, and it has been signed. So, when the application was approved, everything was working as documented. And that's apparently what's been going on in here. We will probably now see what exactly will be the next step. There is a revocation mechanism in this program, but it has never been used as far as we know. So what about iPhone? iPhone, of course, rocks in many ways. But there's been quite a bit of interesting developments on it. Unfortunately, there was a conflicting speech during this speech in the Turbo Talks by Charles Miller about from the guys at explodingiphone.com. We'll probably hear exactly what was being discussed there later on. And if you look at pros and cons, like what are the factors affecting malware development on this device? The things that hinder it include, of course, that it's a closed platform. You can't put third-party applications on it. There is no software development kit available. And it's hard to program because of those reasons. The most typical way of getting viruses for other phones is Bluetooth transmissions. There is Bluetooth here, but you can't use it for transferring files. The Bluetooth in iPhone only supports the headset profile, so you can only use it to connect to a hands-free device. And the file system is not accessible by the user by default. There's no file manager, no nothing. So those are against malware writing. Things that probably then play to the other side or the other direction. It has the user base. Well, only a few 100,000 devices now, but it's growing fast. Will probably continue to grow for quite a while. And there's lots of eager hackers playing around with it, very interested in what's in there and playing with different developments on it. And of course, this is the first phone from Apple, which means they probably got something wrong. There probably are some bugs in there and some vulnerabilities left. So my best guess is that, yes, there will be iPhone malware. There might be iPhone viruses, probably more likely than not. And probably in the fairly near future too. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. And while we're talking about iPhone, while we were testing iPhone in Finland, of course, in Finland it gets pretty cold in the winter. So we were wondering about how well it will work during the winter months. And we've actually posted a video about this to our YouTube channel, which you can check if you go to youtube.com/fslabs, where we are playing around with a iPhone in a freezer. We put it down to minus 20 degrees Celsius and then try to figure out whether it still works. And we found lots of interesting things, including the fact that, normally you would use a phone with gloves during the wintertime, but iPhone doesn't simply work with gloves. But it otherwise works fairly well. It is very cold. It's very hard to use it because of the metal parts which get really cold. And it will actually, your tongue will stick into it if you touch it with your tongue. But I suppose it's pretty good for a first try. That's on our YouTube channel, which has quite a bit of other videos you might want to check out later on. It's at youtube.com/fslabs. And while you are surfing, you might also want to try us out. Surf to fsecure.mobile with your phone's browser. If you're running a Windows phone or a Symbian phone, you can get our antivirus on your device and our firewall on your device and play around with it if you're so inclined. So we are not just making antiviruses, but also firewalls for these smartphones, which is especially important for the fact that, for example, this phone has Wi-Fi. As long as you're in the operator's 3G or GPRS network, doesn't really matter because you're behind the operator's firewall. But when you go to the Starbucks Wi-Fi hotspot, there's no firewalls unless you have one in your phone. So we do believe that in the future we will see more and more for-profit malware. We'll see more native malware for third edition phones, possibly using different exploits to get in there. More Windows mobile malware, possibly BlackBerry malware. By the way, there are spy tools available for BlackBerry as well. The same tool we were showing here also has a version for BlackBerry. So that's pretty much the only malware or malicious code we've seen against BlackBerry so far. And we'll probably also see Wi-Fi worms, not just for phones, but also for Windows. And just think about a Wi-Fi worm jumping from one Windows laptop to another Windows laptop just because they are too close to each other. And that's perfectly possible. Some probably will happen sooner or later. And there are ways to gain access to these devices, different possible vulnerabilities and mechanisms like over-the-air updates or UMA, Universal Mobile Access, which will probably be targets for attacks on these devices. I wrote an article about these things for Scientific American last year. I have a couple of extra copies of that article with me, so if somebody wants a copy, meet me after the presentation. This fairly long look at all the developments we've seen on this thing from the very beginning. Now we have been looking at this threat now for a couple of years. The situation is fairly good. Right now, it's unlikely for most users in the world to get really infected by a mobile phone virus. And if we play our cards right, that's the way it will stay. If the mobile phone vendors and the mobile phone operating system manufacturers and the security companies keep it up like it's been going so far, things will turn out to be quite different to what turned out to be the situation on the PC side. When PC viruses appeared in 1986, nobody cared. It took a 10-year ramp up before anybody really started caring about viruses on the PC side. And as an end result, we have 300,000 PC viruses today. If we play our cards right, we will not be having 300,000 mobile viruses in 20 years from now. Thank you very much.